taught me, you know, 'cause again, with the science stuff in it and things like that, and just, that was one of the ones for me that is very, you know, very much attracted me to it. And again, like now, I recommend that for other people. I've sort of tried to give that to other people, to give to non-Muslims, because for me it was something that worked, you know. And just videos from all sorts of people, you know. More, subhanAllah, I actually didn't really watch any videos until after I first became a Muslim, you know. I didn't really, in that time I was looking up to it, it was more just reading things here and there. And again, I was trying to read as much as I could, but I didn't really have access to the knowledge. So any books I could get from a library about Islam, which unfortunately most of the books on Islam in public libraries are written by non-Muslims, you know, unfortunately. So it's, you know, and you know, reading a little bit, you know, Ahmed Didat, I read a little bit about him, subhanAllah, it's very good, mashallah. And no, it impressed me, it was good. I was sort of like the idea of that. It was actually, I can't remember, it was just more like a little pamphlet. It was to do with the Arab-Israeli conflict. I can't remember what the book is, just a little, so, yeah, like I said, my knowledge up until when I became a Muslim was quite limited in the fact that I only had these few sort of resources to look into. But the main thing for me, like I said, was when I finally, that day that I distinguished Islam from the people who practice it as a difference. And when I met these brothers from this markaz who were, mashallah, very good practicing Muslims, and, you know, sort of, that just, you know, sort of overwhelmed me. And like I said, I sort of became a Muslim from that night on, and I haven't looked back since, and haven't had any hesitations in my old life totally cutting off. All my old friends that go out and take drugs and listen to music, I don't want to know them anymore, to be honest. I cut that off, and for me, music was the hardest thing to stop, because I was very much into it. But it took me about a month after I became a Muslim. I was wrestling with the idea of, you know, why can't we listen to music? You know, because surely it can't. You know, there's no reason why we can't. But then as I learned more, I started to realise that it, like it says, you know, that it does. It takes your heart away from Islam, it takes your heart away from the Quran, and deceives people, you know. So I didn't have a problem with giving up all my old lifestyle, everything. That was no problem. But music, same thing. Just basically that. I had quite a simple life. You know, I worked full time, but that was my life, was music, and hanging out with my friends, and going out listening to music, and taking drugs. That was my life for years. Well, for 5 years, that's all I did. And like I said, there was nothing more beyond that. It was just my life day to day, just existing with no purpose. You know, even though I was seeking for a purpose, I didn't really know what sort of, you know. So basically, just those aspects, and just sort of basically that whole sort of group of people and that scene. I was immersed in that. It was all. But now I've got, like I said, no hesitation. I've sort of left all that behind me completely, and so to speak, jumped in the deep end when I became a Muslim, and haven't looked back. You know, to the non-Muslims, just trying to find the knowledge. You know, if you have any doubts about Islam, trying to really ask yourself the question exactly what do you know about Islam? Not what you've heard about Islam, not what you read about Islam. What do you really know about Islam? And just to try and, I don't know, just to have an open mind, but to try and seek the knowledge, and try and really ask yourself hardly, and sort of really just basically knowledge. Try and seek the knowledge, and try and get the answers. Because for me it was the same. Like I said, I had all these misconceptions. I was attracted to Islam. My heart was there, but I had all these misconceptions about what I saw on the television and all things like this. But once I realised that they weren't true, and they're completely not true, all my doubts faded away. So, and for the Muslims, subhanAllah, I don't know, just inshallah, you know, inshallah Allah unites us, you know, and gives us strength to, because it's a sad thing. Like I said, when I first became a Muslim, it was quite off-putting, the fitna between the Muslims, you know, between the brothers. And so, I don't know, just, for the Muslims to come together, but also for the Muslims to practice their Islam, and to be the example for other people. Because for me that was the same. All that time looking into Islam, I'd met Muslims, but no practicing Muslims. And the first time I met some practicing Muslims, that was when, you know, I accepted it. So for us to call other people to Islam, we have to be practicing our religion properly, you know what I mean? So basically, yeah, advice to Muslims is just to take it seriously, and sort of. I'm glad, alhamdulillah, that Allah has opened my heart up and made me a practicing Muslim now, because that's the same. I know a lot of people now from Melbourne at the same thing, young kids, from Muslim families who aren't practicing their religion because exactly that. They want to party and they want to have time and they're like, I'll make salah when I'm older, I'll do it all when I'm older, But the reality is, and this is something that I'd contemplated always before I became a Muslim, was death as well. It's something that, you've got no idea when it's going to, like could take your life tonight, tomorrow, in a month or whenever. So there's really no, and I say that to some of these young brothers, like from Muslim families who aren't taking it seriously, to really, really think about that, because you've got no idea when your time on this earth is up. And for example, we're saying a story in Melbourne of these 3 young brothers, young Lebanese brothers, who were, 2 of them were brothers and one of them was a cousin or something like that, and they weren't practicing their deen. They were going out the same thing, with girls and parties and driving around in fast cars. And I didn't know them before this happened, but afterwards I met the one brother. One night coming home from the city, coming back from a night of haram in the city, they were driving back home, and their car, driving their big V8 car, powerful car, they lost control of the car, crashed into a light pole, and the 2 brothers died. They were only 18, 19, and one of them was 20, 18 and 19, 3 very young brothers. And that, again, was for me, this was when I first became a Muslim too. This was, even though I didn't know the brothers, it was just, shocking for me. It really made me think. I was like, wow, this is really, really, you have to take it seriously, because you don't know how much time you've got. And alhamdulillah, the one brother who survived was in a coma for 4 weeks. And now when he came out of it, and alhamdulillah, he's fine now, he's got no major problems, he's come back to his deen and he's starting to practice his own properly, because he realises, and I spoke to him and the brother told me exactly that he had always assumed that I'm just going to take Islam seriously when I'm older. But that experience for him made him, really think about it. So, but I'm just glad, alhamdulillah, that I'm young and I've got a chance to take it seriously, So I'm thankful that, although, okay, it would have been, Allahu Alam, if I had been born into a Muslim family who was a practicing family, that would have been just as good, because I would have been brought up with Islam all my life. But really, if I had to look at it, if I had the choice of, well, not the choice, but I'm thankful that, like I said, that I was living that life of haram, but it is, alhamdulillah, inshallah, it's all been forgiven. So I'm very, very thankful of that.